stop what you're doing. Do not throw away this old PC tower. I know what you're thinking. What am I going to use it for? What am I going to do with an old PC tower? This thing is 13 years old, running on 3 gigabytes of RAM. They have an AMD processor, operating on Windows 7. What am I going to do with that? Guess what? Recycle it. And I'm talking about recycling as your own personal home server. There's still a purpose for your old computer machines. And I'm going to talk about that here on this new episode of the AJ Show. And just to kind of, again, talk about this thing used to operate on Windows 7. Now it operates with Windows 10. How? Because I found workarounds creating a flash drive on this 8 gigabyte old flash drive. Windows 10 system operating is on here, and I installed it on this old computer, bypassing all the other Windows. And now it's my personal home server to back up my files, to do whatever I need to do with it. That's the new purpose of this old HP Pavilion Slimline. Get yourself a beverage, sit back, relax. We'll talk about this new Lego set in another episode, and let's talk IT today. So how did I do this? How did I turn a old PC tower into a home server? Number one, of course, is you gotta wipe it out clean. Clean slate it, all right? So factory reset it, do what you need to do with it, wipe everything out of it. That way it's brand new, fresh. It's gonna be back to the basics of what it came in originally. Windows 7, 3 gigabytes of RAM in this thing, AMD processor. It's still actually pretty decently, has a decent speed to it. It does open programs a little slowly, but it's still pretty good for what it is. This is HP Pavilion Slimline. I bought this in 2010 for my own personal use, home computer, also had a laptop. And, but I decided to buy a desktop. I bought laptops for so many years, and I still love laptops. They're always a great option. I don't even know what number laptop I'm on right now because I've had so many. I started with a Dell. Don't get Dell. They's garbage. Don't get Toshiba. They's garbage too. So anyways, yeah, you strip it down to the basics. You basically make the drive visible for your network. So I got an Ethernet cord running to the router. So it's going to have to be connected to the router, of course, for you to be able to access the hard drive into this from another machine. Then you have to create a network with it. And we'll show you that here in just a little bit. So you'll create the network. You'll also want to make sure this is constantly on. You want to turn off all screensaver options, all sleep options. As a server, it has to be constantly running 24/7. That way, if it does go to sleep on you, you're going to lose the network connection on your personal machine, and you won't see it on here to be able to get into this thing. So like the desktop upstairs, because I have a way to remote into my machines, I use Chrome Remote Desktop since my machines aren't Windows Pro, like Windows 10 Pro or Windows 11 Pro. This is the only machine here that has Windows 11. Everything else is 10 because I can't get it to upgrade to Windows 11 due to, not having the right components on the motherboard to be able to do that. So Windows 11, this is my main primary computer I use anymore, is this small compact HP laptop. But there is a desktop upstairs that, if it does, when it does power off, go to sleep or whatever, you won't be able to see it in the remote section. But this, with it being constantly on, is always going to be available to remote in for whatever needs I have. But again, we're strictly using this as storage. We're strictly using it as a server to house and back up files. This is what the main purpose is for this tower. So let's get into the specs of it inside and kind of show you what I did. All right, so let's get started. We are going to first go to this PC shortcut down here. As you can see, I went ahead and disconnected the server so we can show you how to connect the server here. So we want to go to Map Network Drive. So we're going to click on that up here. We're going to click Browse for the folder. We're going to click on ABJ server-PC. We've made it visible on the network, which there's ways that you have to go through. What in the world is this? Credentials for your... So we're going to type in our credentials. Give me a second here. There we go. Now it's loading in there. We're going to click on the users folder, click OK, click Finish, and it should establish this as a link to be able to get into the computer. Where's the refresh button on this? I'm still kind of, there it is right there. Boom, now it's connected. As you can see, you got 529 gigabytes free that we can just use to store and back up files on to this hard drive. I would like to get a bigger hard drive installed on here. Probably in the future I'll do that. So let's go ahead and open that up. There it is, ABJ server. That is the tower that's sitting next to this laptop. And there it is, desktop right here. This is kind of where I want to land stuff at. I went ahead and moved some files over from my laptop to the server. For example, this sermon right here I've placed in here. And I also moved the games that I had. There's a games folder on this desktop right here. As you can see, same folder is right here. So we're going to click open on games. And I'm just going to simply open Sonic SMS Remake here. This is basically a fan remake of Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on Game Gear or Sega Master System, which is 8-bit. It's going to take a moment to load because, again, 3 gigabytes of RAM that it's operating on. It's a little slower because it is an older machine, but it's still going to work for you. Even transferring files over, it's going to run a little slow on that side of things. So I will probably want to update the RAM on there eventually to make things a little bit more faster. But yeah, as you can see, works, operates, pulls from the server. That's it right there. You can also remote into, because the server, again, it is just strictly the tower itself. As you can see, just the tower. I have stripped away the monitor, keyboard, and mouse. So I use to remote into my machines Chrome Remote Desktop. You could go on the online, search for Chrome Remote Desktop. It's going to take you to the website. You can go download the app. You can get it established. It's going to ask for what computers to link up to. You're going to create an access password to get you on there. It's very straightforward and easy to do when it comes to creating remote desktop options. So we're going to go ahead and open this up here real quick, and I'm going to show you that. I'm going to go ahead and click on my server. It's going to connect, going to ask for a PIN number. I'm going to go ahead and type in my PIN number, and we're going to remote into, sorry, my screen's a little blurry on this thing. There we go, because this is kind of a crude setup a little bit. I apologize for the crude setup. So here it is. This is the desktop. This is what's on the tower that we're looking at. As you can see, I got, the sermon right here that I put there. I've got the games folder. The mouse is actually a little black dot. It's kind of weird, all right? But everything's there. You can remote in, do what you need to do, play around with the files. You can even open these files from here. It's really awesome, really cool to just experiment. You can click on Microsoft Edge, and it's going to open up the internet for you. Again, remote access. This has Windows 10 uploaded into it. So pretty cool stuff right here. There's still a lot of potential that I can still do with this old tower because we're just getting started with it. I haven't yet backed up my files to it. I haven't yet stored anything. I still use the OneDrive by Microsoft. I have the subscription for it because it just makes sense to just have a cloud backup for it. But I eventually would like to build my own cloud and just utilize it regarding to this. This is just an experiment. This is just something I'm just starting to learn, to dabble in, to get to know. and eventually expand upon and possibly get something better than an old PC tower. But on the budget, on the cheap, this is a great option for an at-home server using an old desktop like this HP Pavilion Slimline from 2010 that used to operate Windows 7, now has Windows 10, thanks to the workarounds I'd managed to creating a Windows 10 flash drive to load Windows 10 into the PC. So that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll get to this on a later episode because this is actually pretty cool. Stay safe out there. Go learn some IT stuff. And take care.